I would like to bring forth now Lawrence Lucas, president of the USDA Coalition of Minority Employees. Give him a round of applause, people. He's been out here fighting a very long time.
Thank you, John. Well, I'm glad to be here, but to follow John Boyd is always difficult. So I'm going to try today, for the first time, to follow my script. I think it's very courageous, and I think it's very important that this rally press conference is being had to bring to the attention of the American people of the abuse against farmers, abuse against black farmers, abuse against women farmers, abuse against disabled farmers. So this problem we have at USDA, most people say, well, it's just black alone. We have a problem with the U.S. Department of Agriculture treating all its farmers, minority farmers and small farmers, with equal dignity and respect. I want you to know that one thing about the U.S. Department of Agriculture, it is an equal employment opportunity discriminator. In other words, they don't care what you look like. If you come to them and ask for help that they are supposed to furnish, minority farmers, Hispanic farmers, Native American farmers, they do not respond. We are all hoping under the new administration that this is going to change. But the signals that I'm getting as president of the USDA Coalition of Minority Employees, which represent the concerns of not only employees, but represent the concerns of farmers, and we have been engaged with John Boyd and the many farmers and the farm organizations around this country ever since 1995 to bring some justice and some sanity to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I would say that the Department of Agriculture has grown. And what I have to say, where they've grown from is not good. Years ago, you couldn't use the bathrooms. Today, if black farmers go in the building, they only let 2 in at a time. And some of these farmers are veterans, have served this nation, but yet and still, you cannot use a government building to use the bathroom. That is an insensitivity that's coming out of the U.S. Department of Agriculture today. They have moved from calling the NACP, now apes are called people, in the bathrooms of this building not too many years ago. They have displayed nooses and other epithet physically in USDA. They've used against its own employees the N-word. They've also called women, and she's not here today, the N-word, and because she's a black woman, they said the word B. And I'll let you interpret that yourself. I even find these words difficult to say when it's time to say them. It only gets worse. Here you have in 2009 in the Department of Agriculture, not in Washington, not in Georgia, not in Alabama, you have USDA employees still receiving in Iowa, where this secretary was the governor, where this secretary is now representing not only Iowa, but the entire nation. You have an African American, grew up in the South, a doctor, graduated from Tuskegee, 25 years of service, and they gave him a monkey as an award. Now, that tells you that all the paper that comes out of this building, now this only happened weeks ago. Now, they'll tell you that things have changed in USDA. But the one thing that you have to remember, until people are held accountable for the long time abuse of minority farmers, black farmers, and their own employees. John Boyd is right. You cannot solve the problems that exist in the Department of Agriculture without leaving out and addressing the concerns of its own employees who are hired to service you and this nation.
Yes, that's right.
I think that we have turned a corner But that corner is not a very bright light from our perspective. John has indicated farmers should get paid. Why should a farmer who's been discriminated against at USDA by USDA officials, now I'll tell you a little more about that from the inside, by USDA officials, duly fought for to get $50,000, and then they turn around under this administration put a top on the payment of $50,000, and a farmer end up getting $15,000, and they're going to pay out the administrative costs to the government, who you the taxpayers, you're paying them again, and then they're going to say the difference will probably go to the attorneys. Now, we've been through this exercise before with Pickford. The lawyers walked away with millions of dollars and left the farmers to fend for themselves. And there are not a lot of lawyers around that can spend as much time fighting USDA, but they have a whole stack of lawyers in USDA advising them to this day. And some of those lawyers that were there in the Department of Agriculture back in 1994, 95, 96, and when the Pickford case was settled, said that there was no discrimination against black farmers, and we're now, the American taxpayer, are paying $1 billion out of taxpayers' money for covering up their mess. So I don't have too much good news